Welcome back to Blatantly Honest with Makaila Nichols. On today's episode, I sat down with Patti Negri. She's Hollywood's go-to psychic medium and good witch. Patty's best known for her reoccurring role on the Travel Channel's #1 show, Ghost Adventures. She's a best-selling author and has a podcast called The Witching Hour. Patti, it's an absolute pleasure to chat with you today. When did you realize you had a gift?
I knew when I was a little kid that there was this whole other world out there. The supposed, imaginary friends little kids have weren't imaginary. They were real spirits. The little creature in the closet and under the bed, which is your classic imaginary, weren't. They were real beings that I could talk to and were not scary. And I could get real information that I could, tell my mom, and they would be true and real for this little tiny kid. A connection to nature would be there. I would find myself in my little suburban backyard, knowing if I put my mom's mint in her wallet, it would do this, and rosemary would that. It's just like in the blood. I honestly really think we are born with so much more intuition, innateness, what, but it just gets taught out of us in our very non-mystical modern Western society. There's not a lot of room for magic and mysticism. So it's just like, oh, that's your imagination. Yeah, that's your imagination. And no, not necessarily.
Oh, so were you
So I,
supportive of this?
yes, I was luckily, I was raised, I didn't have a big religious, I didn't have any religious upbringing. My grandfather was actually this very famous psychoanalyst, psychologist, very Freudian, he was actually the leader of the Humanist Society of Friends and Atheist organization, so practically an evangelical atheist. So God and all that was just not a word in our house. It was almost like I would pass a church or a temple or a synagogue and go, I'd see the energy in it and go, ooh, that looks good. There's something I want to go there. But it's like, oh, we don't go to those places. I don't really know why. But they were always just supportive. So again, it wasn't like, ooh, that's of the devil that you talk to ghosts or anything. As I was 7 or 8 years old, doing seances in my little hallway, bringing in orbs and spirits. And then I think at 13, I wanted to go to church or something. And my mom's like, you could do anything you want. And I'm like, anything. And I became a seeker, started studying every religion, philosophy, cosmology, the traditional ones, the non-traditional ones, and kind of threw them all in one big pot, work from them all, and take it down to what I see, which is energy. And that's where the through line of truth comes into all of them. Whatever names you use or words you use or the exact story thing, if you take it down to this universal truths and universal energy, it's like everything comes together.
That it does, yeah. Nothing happens without reason. I love what you said just about like nature and feeling and all this stuff. So you must have really been in tune with yourself as a young girl because we're always told, like you said, it's your imagination. When did you know like this is not my imagination? What was your first experience with the spirit like?
I really think it was that first seance. I was pretty shy kid, as many are. I had my like one girlfriend, Sherry Jones, I would hang with, and but I would be just so fine by myself. But when I really wanted to do a seance, obsessed with death, obsessed with the other side, but not morbid, not scary at all, just like, let's go talk to them. And I got into the hallway, I stuffed the towels under, and I realized, yeah, I don't know anybody dead at 7 or 8. And I'm like, Marilyn Monroe, John Kennedy, any famous person that this little 7 or 8-year-old knew. And the room filled with orbs and lights and just magnificent, unexplainable stuff. And as we ran screaming out, because we're little kids, I was inside jumping up and down, going, oh, this is real. This is magic, and this is controllable. I opened it, I closed it, not even knowing the terms of opening the veil or closing the veil, but just by the sounds and the chants. And that it just made our world that much bigger. So it was great. And then becoming a seeker and seeing, what little game template worked for me, was fun seeking in itself. And I'm still figuring that one out.
Oh, I'm sure it's a learning every
Yeah,
day.
forever, every day.
Wow. Were you ever scared of, you talk about you're like, I wasn't fearful of communicating with the other side. It's just like more people to talk to. Have you ever been scared?
I get a little bit. The thing that has been my saving grace, since I was a little kid, I just had this knowing. Again, I think we have this knowledge that this world was our realm of existence. The other world, whatever that was, angels, demons, ghosts, spirits, fairies, elementals, had to play by our rules. And I figured out really young that most people don't know that. So they give away their power. They get real fearful, which will feed if it is negative, or get real angry, which will feed if it is negative. And I just knew that this was our realm. And if I took control, almost like being a parent or being a teacher, no, I don't like you. You can't come here, this little kid, and it would work. So now as a grown-up, when I work some serious stuff or clearings or on the show I work all the time, Ghost Adventures, we don't go into the nicely haunted little hotel where people like to hang out and go dancing. We're at the serial killer's house, or one that's just airing today at Hotel Cecil, where 2 serial killers lived and all sorts of murders and suicides. I go in there and still knowing light beats dark. You bring a candle into a room, you light it up, you light up the room. And yeah, you see those scary shadows with the candle and the light, but you brought in the light. And that has done me good my whole life. The biggest thing is I get startled. Of course, it's like, that's the same thing as, somebody walking around the window. It's like, okay. But I'm so trained my whole life. And just that belief system, it's great. And that, besides the otherworldly, that taking your power back. So it's not really that I'm about the gifts of ghosts and spirits and talking to guides. It's how powerful we are as humans. And that's what I even wrote my book about. It's like, we are amazing beings. We are divine beings, whatever that is. And we are human. We have free will. We were given free will by whoever you want to say gave it to us. And that is powerful. So, forget giving your power away to a scary spirit, or don't give your power away to anything, to other people, to limiting belief systems, to illness, to fear. And it changes everything.
Definitely. So that being said, you talked a little bit about your book. When did you kind of correlate the two, magic and empowerment, in one?
I think just working with people over the years, one-on-one, and I would see that same through line of people not knowing their ability, not knowing their power, just thinking that the wind blows them this way and the wind blows them that way, not like, put up your sails. You control it, and how important perception was. And so I started creating, because I see energy and I work simply and I work elementally. It is great to meditate for an hour. I highly recommend it. But as a rule, I live in Los Angeles. I have 30 seconds to pull it together. So in my concept, it's like, well, all you have to do is this and this and this. So I started coming up with these super simple techniques to take away stress, to calm your chatty brain, to ground yourself, to get what you want, following moon cycles. We are 60% water. We are affected by the moon. It's not just the crazy full moon like everybody says, if you go to the hospital or the police station, but our tides are every moon. So if you follow those moon cycles, the 2 weeks while the moon is waxing, add something into your life. The full moon, be in gratitude, get outside if you can, thank you, whoever you thank, and make wishes for what you want. They always say you got to ask. The 2 weeks when the moon is waning or getting smaller, that's when you release what's not serving you. I worry too much. I don't take enough time for myself. On the new moon, you contemplate. And I would just create these things and I'd start talking to people. And it's like, oh my gosh, this will change everything. And it did. All of a sudden, within a few weeks, it's like the good stuff in their lives got better faster and faster. And the stuff they didn't need anymore started falling away with grace and ease of tapping into our natural tides. So it's like kind of like I got tired of saying it all the time and going, well, if I just write this down, I don't have to say it. Then I could just really focus on this person and say, here, read this book. And, chapter 7, do get a dragon. So I think that's it. It's just, people are amazing to me. I love them so much. And when people really do step into, see how amazing they are. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be hard. It's simple. So that's why.
I love it. Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to read your book, and I love everything that you're like, just refer to chapter 7. I'll be like, hey, what do I refer to? And you'll be like, this one, this is it.
Exactly. It's yeah, and it's short book. I honestly spent more time unwriting it. Oop, things are kicking. Unwriting it than writing it. I wrote it when I started, 30 whatever years ago. I would buy these big books or spirituality or magic or occult, and they'd like, ugh, they'd be boring and they'd be overwhelming, and I'd stick them on the shelf. I'd buy some really simple, easy to read little paperback, whatever, and I would devour it, and I'd learn so much. So when I wrote mine, I wrote and wrote and wrote, and I looked at it, and I go, ah, too many words. Get rid of half of the words. Simplify, simplify. So that's what I spent more time unwriting it than writing it. And it worked. I was totally guided by spirit, and it's like been a bestseller in 5 countries because it's not hearing anybody talk or this or that. It's just easy.
Wow. So you were guided by a spirit, you say. Do you know what particular spirit? Can you communicate and have conversation? Is it light things?
As the chimes go off. I work more with the energy of, I work with a lot of different spirits and guides and things. Again, I'm very more elemental in my work, but because I like the energy factor, I am more going to go. It's not like, oh, my spirit guide Henrietta or Archangel Michael or the highest. I tap into the energy of it, almost the universal energy, whether they call it Akashic records or the great consciousness. I honestly believe it's in our blood, and I tap into that. I give credit where credit is due. Yes, there is lots of spirits and energy out there helping me. What works for me personally is not overly defining it, because again, it's giving your power away. It's in me.
Yeah, definitely. So when you say that, like the spirit, I'm just trying to understand, because I think this is just the most like fascinating and incredible thing. So when you're communicating with the spirit, do you just kind of feel their energy? Do you have to do a seance for you to interact with them?
No, and nobody does. They are there all the time. What I'm very much left brain, right brain. Our left reasoning, rational brain, the one that tells us when to get up and we have to pay our bills. That's what gets us through life. That is not what we're going to use to talk to spirit, our higher self, our higher guides, whatever. That's the right brain, that intuitive, creative, artist, spiritual side. Because the logical side will just shut this down. You have to literally dance between. So if you have this like, wow, grandma's standing behind me, or I'm being guided by whoever, whatever spirit right here, this feels good. If you start going, oh, that doesn't make sense. Somebody opened the window, you shut it down. So it's just literally learning to go, okay, I'm just going to say, this is okay. Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? Learning to trust your inner intuition. If it feels bad, go, no, I'm sorry. Get out. Not welcome here. It feels good. Okay. Who are you? What are you? Talk to it. Step out of the world of reason, step out of the world of logic. Again, you'll get back to that. And if you're not, and go with it. And then if in 2 hours you go, was that really grandma or some wise guy? Nah, I was just indigestion from pizza. That's okay. But the more you say yes to that, opening it, it's like a muscle. It's like going to the gym for your third eye, for your intuition. And it gets easier and easier. And then you just start to trust it. And now, whether I'm 13 people around my dining room table or 600 people at a college lifting the veil, and you get where you're not afraid to say, and there's a giraffe in the room because little Betty had a pet giraffe when she was 12, and that's not make sense. You have to shut down that logical brain going, oh, that you're going to just look like the idiot of the world saying that. And then you say that because you shut that down, and then little Betty goes, oh my gosh, yes, I had a giraffe, and there you go. It's faith in whatever you believe in, whoever you believe in, and in your ability to tap in.
So with that, I know a lot of kids, and like I never played with a Ouija board. What are your thoughts on kids playing with Ouija boards?
I have had the same Ouija board, and now I have dozens since I was a little kid. But it's okay because I knew that this was our world. I do not think they should be sold in toy stores. I think they should have a completely different set of directions. Not this is a toy game. This is not a toy. This could be a door or a portal. And if you have the right set of directions, it's not dangerous. To me, I'm not for guns, but it's like a gun. You just have to know how to use it. You could either go, oh, it's a piece of wood or a piece of cardboard with numbers on it. That's all it is. Or you can go, it's a portal to the other world. Both are right. But if you're using it, if you are going to use it, as kids tend to do, you don't, the simplest thing, you open it up, you close it up, you set your wards, your protectors. Who are you going to call if you get scared? You work with the Christ light, bring in Jesus. You work with angels, guides, bring that in. You work with dragon energy. You work with energy of grandma. Set your parameters and then be very specific in any magic. Who are you going to invite in? You don't want to sit there with your fingers on the Ouija board going, anybody out there, anybody at all? Really? You don't open the front door of your home or your bedroom and going, anybody welcome. You're picky about who you let in. So just the simple thought pattern and words are going, only good or light spirits, only spirits attached to me, of my ancestry, my loved ones, my family, whatever that is, that's what you're going to get. Again, and know how to shut it down and know how to open up and know who or what you're going to call when you get scared, and then choose not to get scared and never give up your power. I've, again, never had an issue.
That's awesome. I'm too scared to use one personally, and there's people like I would love to be able to talk to, but it sometimes worries me about doing it myself. So if you feel or see any energy near me, please let me know, because I would love that. But yeah.
Well, you are really, I could tell, and it's probably why you, again, accomplished so much. You're really intuitive. You yourself are very intuitive. You're very sensorial. You're very sensitive. I'm sure you're strongly affected more than most by smell, taste, sound, music, color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that adds into your third eye and your ability as well. You just might overthink sometimes, as we all tend to do.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't see anything negative around you at all. And just getting into ghosts and spirits, not counting elemental world or angelic realm or anything like that. Just like most people are good, most ghosts are good. They really are. They're just people that passed on, and they're not stuck most of the time. They're just hanging out because they want to. Grandma wants to watch the kids grow up through the window. It's kind of sweet, actually.
That is kind of sweet. Yeah. I don't know. I always feel like we've had a lot of loss in our family, and I sometimes like talk out loud and I like think that they're there and everything. So I always, look for signs. What are your thoughts on cardinals?
Cardinals, as in the bird cardinals?
The red bird.
Well, birds, certainly any kind of bird, depending on where you live, got a cardinal or not. They're messengers. Birds are messengers, and spirit is able to control them. Just same thing as like, oh, the fairy energy, grandma, send in butterflies, grandma, send in whatever. So nature is attached to the spirit world and vice versa. So yes, they are messengers. Lots of things you could do without having to go to a Ouija board to connect with spirit. Yes, talk out loud. I have this thing, I did my book called Dream School. Put a glass of water by the side of your bed at night. Don't drink water by your bed unless it's really sealed, because while you're asleep, it collects everything, emotions, spirits. You notice how bad it tastes in the morning? Ugh. Drinking water further away, but dream water, sit right there and just say, whoever you're asking, God, the universe, or higher self, guides, angels, whatever, I want to communicate with my deceased loved ones. I want to communicate, whatever that is. Or what is the meaning of life? Or the mundane, what outfit should I wear tomorrow? What it is you are asking the universe, God, whoever, to communicate with you, to download you while you're asleep, either in dream form or just downloads while you're asleep, and that chatty, judgmental left brain isn't in the way to shut it down. So it's really easy way. And you kind of, if I have these other little techniques, like wake up 10 minutes before, ask something like, give me clarity, focus, and direction, go back to sleep. You're in a different brainwave state. When your real alarm gets up, you wake up and grab a pencil, just commit 2 minutes to writing down, like, I had a dream about this, or I don't remember what I dreamed, and Patty's stupid, and this, you'll be surprised what comes out. And almost a lot of people with automatic writing and go, yeah, wow. Because it's conduit. Water, we are 60% water. Water is a conduit, and water is our emotions and our mists of our ancestors. So we're tapping into our emotional body. We are tapping into our ancestral body, and it's not going to be scary. Be very specific. You're in charge.
That's something good to remember. I think when a lot of, you see the Ouija, like you said, you just open it for everyone. So it is definitely about being in charge and just kind of taking control and is your power, as you said. So with discovering your power, did you ever struggle at any point with like your own sense of self?
Oh, of course I did. I mean, everybody, you don't get this gift and be on your enlightenment. You go through life easy. Heck no. In those middle teen years, and I do work with a lot of teens. I love that you work with young people and and I work a lot with the kids on Awesomeness TV, and there's so much potential and so much magic in the youth. But when you hit it, you hit all sorts of things. So when I was like 15, I found out that I had these weird health problems. My mom was given a drug when she was pregnant with me, and it caused all this like female stuff and health. And I became a victim, literally, of the medical things and hormones for like 15 years. And it was a struggle trying to use my gifts and be a victim of this and this. Um, so yeah, I had this, but at 30, at the ripe old age of 30, I was told literally, it's like, oh my gosh, if you even make it to 50, you're going to be in a wheelchair, but you probably won't because of the cancer and the brain tumor and the fractures in your back and the harm. And I just kind of went, no, no, we are these amazing beings. I teach it, I preach it. This is what it is. And every symptom went away. Every illness went away. Does she have lupus? We don't know. Fibromyalgia, autoimmune stuff. It just went away. So at 50, instead of being dead or in a wheelchair, I literally used my magical ability. And I tried out for the world's largest obstacle course a few years ago, a TV show called Wipeout, the big ball. And I beat like 70,000 people to just say, we are powerful beings. Scariest, hardest, coldest thing I ever did. But it was so empowering because it's what we can do as humans. But yes, I had those struggle years of dealing and who I am. And when I think just in that, like 15, finding out this stuff, I didn't want my gifts. I didn't want, it's like, if God's going to do this to me or nature's going to be screw you. And I didn't want to travel from my body. I would stick hats on to keep in my body. Of course I had my rebellious. That's part of what everyone goes through. Then you circle back around with lessons that you got from it.
Definitely. So what advice do you have for someone who might feel different, whether or not they have a gift or maybe they're just struggling with their sense of self? What advice do you have for those kids?
Know that I always say, know that one day you're going to say that's the coolest part of you. Because that is the thing that makes you different. The thing that through those rough years, that when you want to fit in and you want to be like everybody else, is the same stuff that's going to make you stand out in a couple of years. And know that you're perfect wherever you are. You can't buy into all the media stuff, and I'm in the world of media. You can't buy into the stuff. You have to look like this and sound like this and be like this. Just take a step back and know that you're perfect, and know that you're going to step into it. And as much as you probably don't understand it right then and there, that thing that you probably hate the most about yourself is your magic. Just have faith for a second.
That's beautiful. So, Patti, as we enter 2021, do you have any projections or anything about how this year is going to go? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think again, it's not like it's all better now, because this was a tough. We've moved into the age of Aquarius. That what they sang about in the '60s in Hair, and we are going from this Capricorn solid, our parents' your grandparents' parents world of black and white and right and round and solid ground. No, we're going. It's an air world. It's different. We have to think different. The whole world pandemic, COVID, all the struggle was a super reset to me. It's like the universe, God, whatever word you want to use, was like, hey, you guys, wake up, you're asleep. Hey, wake up, you guys, we phoned in, automatic pilot, sleep, wake up. What is important? What we were like, and it's just like a gentle shake didn't work. Throwing light water in our face didn't work. We had to get hit on the head with a 2x4. Wake up. So it's like, now lock yourself in the house, and things like, and what is important? Okay, I don't know, family, survive, this and that. But then once we got past that fear and survival, it's like, oh wow, new deeper meanings. So yeah, it's really hard, and sadly it's at a high cost a lot, but we're going to come out of it better and smarter and wiser. And it's going to be a new world. We're going to move in. It's going to be a more creative world, a more experiential than what you have. It's how you experience things as we go into this new world, because we had to step back for a minute. So it's not going to be over like that, but what comes out of it is almost like Phoenix rising from the ashes.
I hope so. We got to rise out of these ashes because I'm ready for life to get back to normal.
Me too. But it'll be a new normal. It will be a better normal.
Yeah, it will. I don't think we're going to go back to how it was at all.
No.
But we'll adapt.
Yeah.
What can people expect from you next? What are you working on aside from your show?
I think I'm figuring out what I teach a lot now. Again, the funny thing about because I used to do a lot of big live events. Now you can't do live events, whether little or large. It's pulled back in, so all of a sudden we're on Zoom. So I've taken to I really teach a lot. So you could be anywhere in the world and take really inexpensive classes with me, and I love that. And even when we go back to live events, that's going to be an aspect that I'm going to keep. I've been doing some more stuff with Gaia.com, which is great. I'm flying back to Colorado next week to work with George Norrie again. Something just dropped on Gaia today at Gaia.com about magic and the occult, not the scary, bad witches stuff. This really beautifully put together, the goodness of it. I'm part of that, just dropped today. And then just getting that message out there that people are amazing and you're amazing. So in whatever form, my next book, I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be a young person book, exactly like I take my same messages, but make it for youth, or a magical cookbook for people who really don't know how to cook like me, but putting the magic within to it. Again, just like I did the Wipeout, I beat another 100,000 people to get on Master Chef with Gordon Ramsay, because again, we're powerful beings. You don't have to boil so well. But it's either that. Again, they're both about empowerment, and they're both about people bringing that much more joy and
That's brilliant.
magic into their life.
Bring the magic into your life. Well, Patti, that is just fantastic. We need to do it. I mean, we all need more magic.
And thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for what you are doing. You are empowering people. Be bold, be you, and be blatantly honest.